Good morning, YouTube. How are you? I can never tell with this light how this is going to go. But anyway, had to get on here early. Not even as early as I like, actually, but I gotta wait a little bit. Give me a moment, please. Okay, so let me let me start with a Bible verse like I often do. Let me join this as well. Let me join my live as well. Okay. So I literally didn't even realize I opened the Bible, and it just fell open to a chapter, and that's how I do it. I just pick something and I read it, and then I see if it's related in any way. Most times it is. Sometimes it's probably giving a message that, I'm a little cautious of. But anyway, um, so this is Jeremiah 29. And this, it says here, Hananiah's false prophecy. Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue of the elders which were carried away captives. Unto the residue of the elders which were carried away captives, and to the priests, and to the prophets, and to all the people who Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. After that, Jeconiah the king and the queen and the eunuchs, the princes of Judah and Jerusalem, and the carpenters and the smiths were departed from Jerusalem by the hand of Elisha, the son of Saphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah king of Judah sent into Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem into Babylon. Build ye houses, and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives, and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there, and not diminished. And seek the peace of the city, whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it, for in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, that not your prophets and your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which ye caused to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them, saith the Lord. For thus saith the Lord, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you, and perform my good word towards you, in causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find me when ye shall search for me with all your heart. And I will be found of you, saith the Lord, and I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations and from all the places whither I have driven you, saith the Lord, and I will bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive. Because ye have said, the Lord have raised us up prophets in Babylon. Know that thus saith the Lord of the King that sitteth upon the throne of David, and of all people, and of all the people that dwelleth in this city, and of your brethren that have gone forth with you into captivity. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will send upon them, I will send upon them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like vile figs that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. And I will persecute them with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all the kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse and an astonishment and an hissing and a reproach amongst all the nations whither I have driven them. Because they have hearkened, because they have not hearkened to my words, saith the Lord, which I sent upon them by my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, but ye would not hear, saith the Lord. Hear ye therefore the word of the Lord, all ye of the captivity whom I have sent from Jerusalem to Babylon. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, of Ahab the son of Koliah, and of Zedekiah the son of Messiah, which prophesy a lie unto you in my name. Behold, I will deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall slay them before your eyes. And of them shall be taken up a curse by all the captivity of Judah which are in Babylon, saying, the Lord make thee like Zedekiah and like Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have committed villainy in Israel, and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives, and have spoken lying words in my name, which I have not commanded them. Even I know and am a witness, saith the Lord. Thus shalt thou also speak to Shemaiah, the Nehelamite, saying, thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, saying, because thou hast sent letters in thy name unto all the people that are at Jerusalem, and to Zephaniah the son of Messiah the priest, and to all the priests, saying, the Lord hath made thee priest in the stead of Jehoiada the priest, that ye should be officers in the house of the Lord. For every man that is mad and maketh himself a prophet, that thou shouldest put him in prison and in the stocks. Now therefore, why hast thou not reproved Jeremiah of Anathoth, which maketh himself a prophet to you? For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, this captivity is long. Build ye houses, and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them. And Zephaniah the priest read this letter in the ears of Jeremiah the prophet. Then came to the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, saying, send to all them of the captivity, saying, thus saith the Lord concerning Shemaiah, the Nehelamite, because that Shemaiah have prophesied unto you, and I sent him not, and he caused you to trust in a lie. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will punish Shemaiah, and his seed. He shall not have a man to dwell amongst his people, neither shall he behold the good that I will do for my people, saith the Lord, because he has taught rebellion against the Lord. This was not a love and light message today. This is not what I thought we were going to talk about today. However, this is what God wants to talk about today, and this is the truth. This is the truth. False prophets. I didn't know this was what I was going to talk about today, but false prophets. So a number of things that's being said here is, and this is happening with us as well, with gang stalking. And this is something that for me I thought was crazy when I got on YouTube, is that it's one thing that people they're suffering. We talk about gang stalking as being an initiation of sorts. Gang stalking is a lot of things that you can take both for good and for bad. We talk about gang stalking happening, and then when people are supposed to elevate and they're supposed to grow, they send in these people, these fake practitioners, these dark witches, whatever you want to call them, these people that purposely give people false information. They come like wolves in sheep's clothing. They come very nice, as if they're going to teach you. They take messages from other people. People have stolen so many of my messages. So as they destroy my channel, delete my mentions, delete my comments, so that I don't see them, so that it doesn't raise the page, it doesn't grow the page, and then they take the messages, they water it all the way down, and they give BS advice. I have seen pages talking about how to break a soul tie is with positive thoughts. A soul tie, one of the heaviest forms of magic you can do. Give me a second here, please. A soul tie is so bad, it's breaking spiritual law. You're breaking so many spiritual laws in order to do things like that. These people will take information that basically God puts out and they invert it. They turn it upside down. They reverse it. They deliver the message in reverse. So if God says you're supposed to pray at 9 a.m., they'll tell people God said you're supposed to pray at 9 p.m. If you tell people they're supposed to have 3 on their altar, they tell people, you start seeing messages everywhere that there are 4 on the altar. They give a fake platform to these people. Everything is fake. The engagement's fake. Everything is fake. The comments are fake. I go through some people's comments and I see the same person commenting 17 times, the same account. Builds up the engagement, builds up all of this. They go out of their way to do all of this on an account. And when they're ready to disable your channel, all of it stops all at once. And they disable your channel. And so the messages that you're giving, and you should keep giving your messages no matter who's watching. Whether you have 1 view, 0 views, whatever it is, no matter who's watching, you give your messages. But it's meant to demotivate you. It's meant to make you feel like what you're doing doesn't make sense. It's meant to make you feel like there's no point in this. Nobody's watching, nobody's engaging. Meantime, it's not true. They take your channel and they share it in so many different places. They share it to people so that people can take the messages and regurgitate it falsely. Send to all of them of the captivity, saying, Thus saith the Lord concerning Shemaiah the Nehelamite, because that Shemaiah have prophesied unto you, and I sent him not, and he caused you to trust in a lie. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will punish Shemaiah the Nehelamite, and his seed. He shall not have a man to dwell up amongst his people. He'll have no one to trust in his own people. Neither shall he behold the good that I will do unto my people, saith the Lord, because he hath taught rebellion against the Lord. And that's exactly what these people do. These people want you to hate God. These people want you to not trust in God's timing. These people want you to not have respect for God. These people teach the opposite of what they're supposed to teach. These people teach Jezebel and all of these. That's what they're starting to do. Or maybe they always did it. Maybe I just started noticing. And they have these people everywhere on every single platform with these dirty messages. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, X, formerly Twitter. They have them everywhere giving advice. Wolves in sheep's clothing, pretending that they're giving people good advice and people are listening. Taking tarot readings and giving you a bunch of good sounding stuff and sprinkling a bunch of very toxic, very dangerous information in the messages as well. Watching everything people do and say, not just to regurgitate it, but to lead people the opposite way of where people are supposed to go, to take them in the opposite direction. Have the audacity to ask, why aren't you mad at God for everything that you're going through? Like they need advice on how to help you be mad at God. Meantime, God has them in a chokehold over on their side, and they're just in waiting. They're in limbo. They're not done, because they could be done if God wanted it that way. They're in a limbo, and they know that. They're in a waiting. And they're not in waiting trying to repent. They're not in waiting trying to rectify some of the things that they've done. They're not trying to get out of it. They're in waiting, thinking they can beat God with energies that serve God. They think they're in some sort of equal fight. They think that whatever it is that they serve doesn't cower and run from God. They know that. They should. If they're real anyway, they should. They should know that what they're serving is no match, doesn't care about them, is not meant to care. Listen, it's like this. It's like the way things operate before, let's say like crime rings. The way they operate before the real authorities get here is very different from how they operate. They're very strong when they're strong. When they have their time that they reign, they're very strong. They rule with an iron fist. They're very malicious and cruel. They're brothers, they're bonded, there's loyalty, they have each other's back, they deal with things for each other. Everything's lovely because money is still flowing, money can still be made, people can still be put under persecution, and nothing is fighting back. When the tables flip and you start seeing unmarked vans sitting all over the city, and you start seeing people standing up for themselves, and money can't be made, and you're calling numbers that can't be reached that have been disconnected, and you're sitting at home and you're getting nauseous feelings in your body because things that have never happened before are happening now, and brothers turn on brothers. So now you don't know if your brother is a snitch or if your brother is real. Because you always know in the back of your head when it comes between either you or them, you're going to pick you. So you know when it comes between you and that one, they're going to pick them. They would pick them over their own wife, over their own child. That's how criminal the ring is. That's how bad it is. That's how deep it is. Because they know if they get taken down for one thing, they're not coming out. You go in, but you don't come out. They know that. So all the strongholds, these chains that they had, they get weaker. They can't trust the person they buy from. They can't trust the dry cleaner. They can't trust the cleaning lady. All of a sudden, the lady who cleans their house is behaving a little bit weird. She does something today she never did before. All of a sudden she didn't say good morning, or all of a sudden she did say good morning, or all of a sudden she she's nervous. Something's going on in your own house. All of a sudden, your wife is extra nice, or she's extra mean, or she's asking questions. Things are weird. Who do you think they come for? Where do you think they get the information? They're not getting it from outside. The problem is always on the inside. The problem is always in the inside. What can people on the outside ever do? They can't even get close. The problem is always on the inside. On the inside, they come for people that they can't get, and they talk to the wife. They tell the wife how many years she's gonna go away. They tell the kids how many years they're gonna go away. They tell the cleaning lady, just by being a cleaning lady in here, you're already in problems. She's not even making money. She's just making, she was supposed to be making 50 bucks a day. She's making $200 a day in this house because money's no issue. They don't care. So she takes the job. Is she really necessarily in charge of anything? Not really. They come on the inside. Where's the safe? Who did this? Who came here? That's how it works. Spiritually, it works the same way. Why would it not? When the spiritual police, if you will, come for you, when the spiritual energies that rebalance the universe come for you, all these alliances that were strong before they break, they have no choice but to break. The entities see it first, the entities feel it first, and the entities are where? On the inside. You can't run from something on the inside. The entities are on the inside. The entities see it first, and the entities are trying to fight against this situation. That's why it gets so obsessive. That's why it gets so crazy. That's why they get so persistent. That's why they go through all these backfires, that's why they do all of this, because the entities know the jig is up. By the time they get here, by the time you start seeing the trucks, you only notice the problem when they have a full case built up. You don't notice the problem in the initial investigation. Isn't that how they gang stalk you? You don't know you're being gang stalked and monitored initially. You only figure it out when they already have you spiritually binded up, when they already have your entire network, when they've already hacked your phone, when they've done all of this. That's when you notice it. When it's too late, you're surrounded. They want it like that. It's like when you call to give an anonymous tip, they say, have you ever had interaction with this person, or have you accused this person? Have you reported them? If your answer is yes, they're not going to take the tip, because this person's going to know where it's coming from. It's not going to be a surprise. So there's no point. They've done it enough that way. It works that way every way. By the time they tell you, by the time you know what's going on, it's too late. You're already energetically binded to what's gonna kill you. Spiritually speaking, of course. You already energetically binded to it. Because you cannot block what is coming from a twin flame. That pipeline is open and unobstructed. So when people bind to other people and they open up these pipelines so that they could send their attacks through flush, well, what happens? You think that the pipe only flows one way. It's a pipe. It flows any way. It's a pipeline. It's open. It's open. And you take a cloak and you do all of this extra stuff, it's almost like it is marrying an undercover officer as a criminal. It's marrying an undercover officer as a criminal. You're a criminal and you're doing criminal activities and you're having a great time enjoying yourself, and your spouse is undercover. And you see here what the scripture said. Where is it? Jeremiah 29:23 says, because they have committed villainy in Israel and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives and have spoken lying words in my name, which I have not commanded them. And the end of it says, even I know and am a witness, saith the Lord. Doing things in plain sight. Gang stalkers love to do things in plain sight. It turns them on. It gives them a rush. When they do things to you in plain sight of other people in public view, they think everything is funny. And the worst part of it, they keep telling people who are supposed to wake up, people who are supposed to send, they keep telling people, it's military weapons, it's this, it's that, it's the third. If it's military weapons, how comes it works on some people and not others? And I'm not saying it's not entirely military weapons. I'm not saying there's not some form of technology here, but I don't think this works on everybody the same. I don't. I think that there are a ton of people, I know that there are a ton of people who experience the same spell work, the same sort of things, and they don't recognize it as spell work. They don't see it as anything. They don't experience it in the same way. So people are supposed to wake up and people are supposed to walk a particular path, and they can't. They don't get to do that because they're blocked. And I talked about this yesterday, about this being a witch hunt. What am I, 26 minutes? I talked about this being a witch hunt because it is. And, you know, God's okay with that word witch, whatever you want to call it. But there are people here who are not entirely like the rest of us and are going through things, but they're put in situations on purpose. And you can see here that it says that God's the person that puts people in captivity. Where did it say that? I have to read this again when I have a chance to make sure that I'm quoting it properly, but God definitely puts you in situations that are uncomfortable for multiple reasons. One, yes, waking up, but two, that's where God needs you, in uncomfortable situations. There is something after this. I'm going to hold on to this because what I have to talk about today is a different message. Maybe not entirely, but it's a different message than this message. So I'm going to read something that I should have read before and didn't yet read. And I realized today is the day that I'm going to read it. Okay. So these are the 42 laws of Ma'at, or the 42 divine principles of Ma'at. So it's the petitioner. The petitioner announces the 42 divine principles of the Ma'at in chapter 125 of the Paprisus of Ani. We find the petitioner led by Anubis into Duat and pronouncing his or her 42 affirmative declarations listed below from Budge's public domain translation of the 42 divine principles of Ma'at. So I'm going to read all 42 of them. Number 1, I have not committed sin. Number 2, I have not committed robbery with violence. Number 3, I have not stolen. Number 4, I have not slain men or women. Number 5, I have not stolen food. You'd think that stealing food would be one of the things that would be forgiven. Number 6, I have not swindled offerings. Number 7, I have not stolen from God or goddess. Number 8, I have not told lies. Number 9, I have not carried away food. Number 10, I have not cursed. Number 11, I have not closed my ears to truth. Number 12, I have not committed adultery. Number 13, I have not made anyone cry. Number 14, I have not felt sorrow without reason. Number 15, I have not assaulted anyone. Number 16, I am not deceitful. Number 17, I have not stolen anyone's land. Number 18, I have not been an eavesdropper. Number 19, I have not falsely accused anyone. Number 20, I have not been angry without reason. Number 21, I have not seduced anyone's wife. Number 22, I have not polluted myself. Number 23, I have not terrorized anyone. Number 24, I have not disobeyed the law. Number 25, I have not been exclusively angry. Number 26, I have not cursed God or goddess. Number 27, I have not behaved with violence. Number 28, I have not caused disruption of peace. Number 29, I have not acted hastily or without thought. Number 30, I have not overstepped my boundaries of concern. Number 31, I have not exaggerated my words when speaking. Number 32, I have not worked evil. Number 33, I have not used evil thoughts, words, or deeds. Number 34, I have not polluted the water. Number 35, I have not spoken angrily or arrogantly. Number 36, I have not cursed anyone in thought, word, or deeds. Number 37, I have not placed myself on a pedestal. Number 38, I have not stolen what belongs to God or goddess. Number 39, I have not stolen from or disrespected the deceased. Number 40, I have not taken food from a child. Number 41, I have not acted with insolence. And number 42, I have not destroyed property belonging to God or goddess. That's like 4 times that God or goddesses are mentioned. And I have not swindled offerings also as an act against gods or goddesses, because offerings are made to them as well. After the petitioner's testimony containing the 42 affirmative declarations, the weighing of the ka for truth, and the reading of the scales, it is said that the doer of Mayat is administered Mayat. If the petitioner is deemed by the goddess Mayat to be in substantial compliance with the 42 laws of Mayat, the petitioner passes from Duat to the field of reeds, Eris, where Osiris sits as the final gatekeeper. Mayat is the moral ideal in ancient Egypt. And this comes from the Book of the Dead. So, I wanted to talk about today about people who find themselves in these difficult situations, like myself, and find that you awaken in this situation and that you find that you're on a life path that is different from where you started. You you wake up fighting. You wake up at war. I remember saying this under a comment section that you think waking up is going to be pleasant. You think waking up is going to be like, you wake up and there's God and you have a spiritual awakening, like some sort of yogi waking up to meditation and all that. And that is not what happens, and that is not what it's like. You wake up at war. You experience evil and you have no choice, like the text says, but to call out for God. Where is it? This text has so much in it. Verse 12. Then shall ye seek me and find me, when ye shall search me with all your heart. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And I will be found of you, saith the Lord. And I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from the nations and from all the places whither I have driven you, saith the Lord. The places whither I have driven you, and I will bring you again into peace, whence I caused you to be carried away captive. This is exactly how gang stalking works. You are living a peaceful life, then you found yourself in captivity, then you call to God, and God takes you out. This is the way it works. This is how God devises for this to work. You find yourself in a problem, in a nightmare that you did not put yourself in. You were minding your business and you were doing what God wanted. I could say a lot of tarot readers have been like that. You've been suffering for God. You've been minding your business. You've been taking care of yourself. You've been spiritually, you've been doing what it is that you were supposed to do, and you find yourself in captivity. You find yourself in cruelty. And that's where God wants you. That's where God wants you. You have no choice but to pray. You have no choice but to call to God, because you can't do this by yourself. And you know what? The song that came to me today was where Drake was saying, the Drake song, Coming Home, or just hold on, we're coming home, or we're going home, or something like that. It's hard to do these things alone. Those are the lyrics that came to me, and this is true. When you call out for help, because you gotta call, you gotta say something, you gotta call out, you gotta ask. Otherwise, you are stuck, and this is a scary place. You call out for help, and help will come. Help that comes to you, there is a cost to it. There's always a cost. I'm not talking about a trade-off like a buy and sell. I'm talking about what it takes to get out. There's a cost. The cost is other people that that sacrifice themselves so that you can be saved. That's really what it boils down to, is other people that put themselves in harm's way. People who are in a life of service. People whose only purpose is to assist others in coming out of their shackles. These people have to first be put in an initiation process themselves to grow into who they are. And let me tell you, initiation is not for the weak-minded. You are initiated in such a way that you really have no choice. God will tell you, don't worry, you're going to get through it. It's going to be fine. So visually imagine yourself hiding behind a wall and bombs are going off all around you. And God's like, it's fine, you're gonna get out of here. Don't worry, you're taking this too seriously. God's very casual about it. Or your spirit guides, whoever you're working with, very casual about it. And you just see somebody's leg fly over a fence and you're like, yeah, this is not casual. This is not casual. This is serious. This is serious. You may be protected as long as you follow instructions and as long as you adhere. You step out of line and you're out of the protection zone. You are out of the protection zone. As soon as you put one foot to one leg out of the line, you're out of the protection zone. This is not a game. So as you're being gang stalked, people around you are losing their physical life. People are passing away. These people are doling out death spells like candy. People are falling sick. Everybody is in and out of the hospital. Everybody's gaining weight. Everybody's looking a mess. Everybody's organs are having issues. Everybody is falling. And you may face a bit of that as well. You may go through initial stages of that. In my ascension at the very beginning, I did fall under the the beauty spells, I got fat, and not normal fat for me. So when I gain weight, you gain weight proportionate to your body type. So I have a smaller waist, wider hips, so I should gain weight like that. Even when I have gained weight in the past, I've not been unattractive. It's not been unattractive. I could not recognize myself. I lost my shape. I looked like a balloon. I looked horrendous. I see videos of myself and I can't even watch it. I was working so hard, I couldn't even get to take care of myself properly. I wasn't dressing the same, I wasn't doing the same things, I was just getting by. And they were laughing at it and they thought this was hilarious. That is because cleansing was inconsistent. There was too much going on at once, but you're learning. I can see what readers are going through now. There's some of them, they make them look unattractive. Some of them, they make them look old. Some of them, they're not getting enough sleep. Some of them, they're having organ issues. They're trying to shut down their organs. They're gaining weight. All of a sudden, they're cold. All of a sudden, this is happening. They're overeating. They look at you. They try to monitor you. What are your weaknesses? Oh, you like food will make you overeat. Oh, for me, I'm a baker. I cook, but I cook for others to eat. I don't necessarily eat myself. That's how I am. I don't necessarily eat myself. My body naturally regulates itself. So for me not to have been eating and still gaining weight like this, I think initially when it wasn't working, they contacted me on Twitter. They tried to talk about it on Twitter to see why. And then they started making people give me food so that the food was cursed so that it would work that way. Because I naturally don't overeat. So you have to know that these people are going to utilize any resource possible around them in order to make something work. And I don't know if the beauty spells are to bring you shame or to demotivate you, or what this is supposed to be about. I think beauty spells are stupid. I do. Because it doesn't matter. If somebody's using a beauty spell to make someone not love you, that person never loved you anyway. It's like a beauty spell. It's like making, let's say, having a pet, and this did happen, having a pet and making the pet fall sick so that you don't show the pet love, or you don't like, I don't know if that's the intention of why that would happen, but if you truly love your pet, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You're going to want to heal it. If you truly love a child, nothing can make you unlove a child. Nothing can make you unlove something that you love. So it's just wasting time. But they do these things. If a reader starts gaining weight, they're still going to come and give the message. If a reader starts getting pimples, or they're still going to they start losing their hair. This is envy at play. The envy, the work is being done from a place of envy, not a place of what is logical. So it's either that they can't get the reader, or they can't get the person to stop persisting in what they're doing, and they think, well, maybe if we make them ugly, maybe if we make them this or that, they won't do it. Or maybe we just can't stop them in any other way. Maybe we already threw death spells. Maybe we already did all of that stuff and nothing is working. Maybe that's why we got to do what we're doing now. But the reality is, when you're of service to God, nothing moves you off of that post. It doesn't matter how you come online, you're going to come online. You're going to give the messages regardless, because you've come into service, because that's what happened. There is no way to be rescued from a toxic situation, from a dangerous situation, by your spirit guides. Come into union with your spirit guides and then turn around and not do what your spirit guides tell you to do. There is no way, because you're bonding in a time that is crazy. You're being rescued from a ridiculous situation. There is no way that you're going to be rescued and then turn around and say, there's no day that I want this union. There's no day I want this partnership. Why would you not? What day would you say, I don't want to be protected, I don't want to be loved by this spirit? It is not possible. So once you come into connection with your spirits, it's done. It might as well be done. Once you accept your spirits, it might as well be done. And your spirits will come see you. They will come see you, because you were put in that situation on purpose. I've talked about so many times that I could have been gang stalked so many times prior. I could have been gang stalked so many times prior, and God always blocked it. God let my business be stopped. God let my page be deleted. God let all of these different things happen just so that it wouldn't happen before I was ready to go through it, before I was ready to survive it, because I wasn't meant to be a captive. I wasn't meant to. And I've said this over and over. If God does not want you to be in something, you won't be in it. It's kind of like the best example that I have is like, it's like you as an adult play fighting with a 2-year-old and they think they're giving it everything, like they're punching with all their strength, they're doing all of these things, and you're falling to the front. Oh, that hurt. And that's how you play with them, because you want them to be encouraged. So they're fighting you, and they're kicking you, and they're doing all of this stuff, and they feel good, and you're like, oh, it hurts. Oh my goodness. Oh, you're so strong. That's how I see God playing with people right now. That's honestly how I see God playing with people. It's like literally God is really letting people think that they're doing something. It's having no effect. And it's God will airlift you. God doesn't even have to airlift you out of a situation. The situation is just playing out in the way God wants it to play out, because it's not just the gang stalkers in this. It's also you in this. It's other people who are captive. It's witnesses. It's the law. There are many people here. There's so many factors. It's not just one person. Everything here, it's doing something. There are people witnessing this that are meant to witness that God is real. There are people witnessing this that God's been whispering in their ear for a while, and they haven't listened. And God is meaning to say, the people that you think are so powerful and something so crazy, look at them. Look at them. With what? Not spell work, not with prayer, with me. Look at them. Like the energies, they are not equal. These are not equal energies here. You can go and find the biggest, strongest energy, and it can whisper anything it wants in your ear, and it's nothing compared to who God is, and what God wants to happen is what is going to happen. There is no escaping it. As you're going through this is going to be bad enough that you're going to self-reflect. You will have no choice but to self-reflect. None. You're going to go through this. I mean, whether you were doing good, whether you were doing bad, you're going to look at yourself. You have no choice. You're going to look at yourself, and you're going to have an opportunity. This is where the calling comes, where God calls you. You're going to have an opportunity, a window, because it's not permanent, a window where God gives you an opportunity to heal your heart, to come into the light. You're going to see yourself reflected. You're going to see the things that you've been doing. You're going to see the way that you've been living. You're going to see the situations that you're in. And you're going to have an opportunity to make a decision. Am I going to be of service to something positive? Am I going to stop, or am I going to barrel forward? Everybody gets that opportunity, not just one or two of us. Everybody got that call. Anybody that comes here gets the call. I just have to adjust the light. Sometimes too bright is not where I want to go. It almost looks better when it's not as bright. Everybody gets the call. And the initial call involves healing your heart, which it's shadow work. And when you first hear shadow work, it just sounds like something that like the people who meditate on these social media platforms just say, and you're like, okay, it just means I gotta cry about a couple things that happened in the past and like let it go. Shadow work is a lot more aggressive than that. To go through shadow work and gang stalking at the same time is a lot of work, because shadow work by itself is a lot of effort. Shadow work is being in your house, in your room, fighting yourself, angry, because you're going through things that have already happened. You're bringing back up old wounds, old things that you should have healed. Things are coming back up from years ago. Things are coming back up from childhood, and you're realizing where it blocked you. And trust me, you stagnate at the age of when the trauma happens. That's where you're blocked. If your trauma happened at 6, You could be 56 and still be a 6-year-old. You still behave as a 6-year-old because that's where you block the light from coming in. So in order to cross the threshold, you gotta go back to 6-year-old you, and whatever happened, that's where you have to start healing it. And these demons come up by themselves. You don't pick up to say, oh, I'm gonna go back to what happened how many years ago. It comes up. It comes up on its own, and you are guided to heal it. You gotta heal the trauma. This kind of stuff is stuff that's gonna make you question the God. Why does God allow this to happen? Because you need the trauma. There are lessons that can only come from this trauma. There are blessings that can only come from this trauma. So you are meant to have the trauma, heal the trauma so you can have the lessons, the blessings, and the insight without the hatred, the animosity, and the jealousy that came with the trauma. You're meant to have not both, just the end result. You're supposed to discard the rest. You're supposed to be able to let it go. In order to successfully get through gang stalking, it is perpetual healing, perpetual forgiveness, perpetual understanding, coming back to a place of peace constantly, because gang stalking exposes you perpetually to trauma. They go through and they consistently think of, how can we re-traumatize you? How can we put you back in a dark place, in a toxic place? It is constant trauma, so it needs constant healing. And if you're not able to heal these things, if you're not able to come to a place where you say, I know this happened, I know this was bad, I know this is not something that I want to continue experiencing, and I have to let it go. If you cannot come to that place with things, you are going to stagnate right here. Even if the gang stalking itself, like people following you, I consider gang stalking like people following you, hacking you, all of this stuff. If all of that were to end today and you did not heal, the gang stalking did its job. You would not move on. You would be stuck in negativity and toxicity and not believing in yourself and not believing in a higher power. You would never ascend. You would never meet God where God wants to meet you. You would be stuck. And that's what they're trying to do here anyway. They're trying to make you stuck. So you're going through all of this and you're being guided to heal, and you do not need to heal 100%. You genuinely do not need to heal 100%. And I'm going to give some advice. I'm going to give some advice to people who might need it when it comes to parental wounds. If you, and this is something that is personal to you, this is not something for other people to validate for you. People don't know what you feel. They don't know what you experience. They don't know who you are. For yourself, if you've never entirely fit in with people, if you don't necessarily feel you are 100% human, if that makes sense. And I know it will sound ridiculous to people who cannot relate. It's not for everybody to relate to. But if you don't 100% think you fit in, even when you were amongst your parents or your personal family, you did not 100% feel like you fit in with these people either. You're different from them. You behave differently. You just feel differently. You've never felt one with them. Then maybe you are not. And maybe God just wanted to get you here some way, somehow, and would manage you from there. You just had to get there. For me, I just had to get to my grandmother. It didn't matter who was the womb that I had to get to her. It didn't matter. So it can explain things, and you may not know, but even your parents may not be able to understand like why they didn't love you, perhaps like they love their other children, or perhaps they feel guilty about it. It's problematic. I've witnessed with myself, my mom feel guilty about it. My mom has felt guilt. I've seen her question herself. I haven't had the guilt. I haven't had the animosity. I haven't been mad. And there have been times she's been upset, lashing out or upset, like, I know you're mad at me, and I'm like, I'm actually not, and that's the truth. I actually wasn't, but I realized that it bothered her, and it makes it much easier to forgive when it's like she's also conflicted about this herself. She's probably also wondering about, and I've seen her try. I've seen her really try. So it's not, this is not a situation where you can carry the burden of why parents failed you. They just had to get you here. Spirit just had to get you here, and Spirit did the rest. Spirit would take care of you. You would find help in strangers. You would find whatever you needed, whenever you needed, it would find you. You would find your way there. And Spirit just wanted to get you where you needed to go. And even times where you were mad at Spirit, I mean, I was 18 and I was like, God does not exist. If God exists, things like this can never happen, blah, blah, blah. And it was God behind the scenes helping me the entire time. It was God taking care of me the entire time. I had to go through what I had to go through. So I just want to say that for anybody who's feeling like God turned their back, who's feeling rejected, who's feeling like God is not with you, very false, very false. God has taken care of you from day one. And if you look back, everything that has ever been unexplained, everything that has not made sense, you've been taken care of as if you had good parents. Every opportunity, every time a door opened, that's always been God. You've had opportunities that other people cannot understand, and people see that on you. They see that things always work your way. They see that God favors you. They call you lucky. That is living in God's favor. Luck is God's favor. They call you lucky. You're so lucky. You're so lucky. Your things always go your way. Of course, people would say to me, like, of course you got it. Of course it made sense. Of course you passed. Like, they're always expecting it. Like, they're sitting there waiting. Like, they're like, yeah, this girl's going to get it. And meantime, I'm doubting myself. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm not sure. People see that on you. That's how you end up in a destiny swap in the first place. People see God's favor on you. They see God's... I've met people that they've done destiny swaps on. Angels. They are sweet. They are kind. They have a gift. They're developing it. Everything they touch, it just comes. It comes beautifully. That's just how it works. And that's just who you are. So if you're struggling with, why would my parents do this? How comes people abandoned me? How comes I was never protected? It's because they are not probably your parents, like in the way that you think. They're like earthly parents, like they've given birth to you because it's like how you get here on earth. But they're not necessarily your earthly parents. And I can tell you, I understood that when I came into union with Spirit. I was like, oh, this is my mother for sure. I get it. I get why all of this stuff happened. I understand now. You understand what it's like to have a mother. Maybe you didn't understand before. Maybe you saw other people with parents, how their parents were, and that made you jealous. The bond between parents, how parents are so encouraging and they have your back till the end and they never give up on you, and the confidence that kids with good parents have, that they know they're going to be taken care of no matter what, that their parents sacrifice for them. You know, one of the things that happened when I had my kids was there was a certain point where I found myself almost like giving an oath saying, I'm going to make sure that you guys are taken care of no matter what. I'm going to make sure that you guys are not going to feel any disadvantage, that you're going to have an amazing life, and I commit myself. I literally said, I will be the sacrificial lamb. I will sacrifice anything that I have to sacrifice in order to give you a good life. And that meant friendships. So when people were like, let's go to Miami, let's go here and there, I'm like, I can't, because I don't have a babysitter. And they're like, what? Just leave them with their, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to. Let's do this, let's do that. I never broke the bond that mothers there are encouraged to break, where when you have separation anxiety and you leave your kids. I had no interest in breaking that. I didn't care. I had separation anxiety, and my kids were damn near teenagers, and I went on the first trip without them, and I cried on the trip at dinner in front of everybody. I was like, I want to go home. It's just, I just didn't want to do it. That's how your spiritual relationship with your spirit guide is going to feel. It's going to feel like you're going to have separation anxiety both ways, to the point where when I woke up spiritually to this relationship, I said, I wonder how it probably felt to have, as a spirit, to have your child be born on earth and see them as a baby and see them in preschool and see them in, elementary school, and hovering over them, and they don't know you're there, and they're not calling to you, they're not talking to you, and maybe you are talking to God as a child, but you don't know it's God. And then I come to the point where I was like, no, I was talking to God the entire time, I just didn't know. I remember there were times where people would talk to me and they would offer me something, or there would be some opportunity, and I'd say, I gotta see how my spirit feels about it first. And then I would have to go and either meditate on it or sleep on it, and then I'd wake up and I'd have the answer, and I'd be sure of the answer. So when people say things like you got to sleep on it first, that's the kind of thing that they're talking about. You got to sleep on it first. So I go, I sleep on it, I come back, and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to do it, or I'm pretty sure I don't want to do it, because of that relationship that is there that I didn't even know was there. But that relationship has been there. It's been a little covert relationship, guiding you, telling you things, giving you ideas, nudging you in this direction or that direction. You wake up one day and you're like, I'm wasting money. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing that. And it takes you so far, and then you say, okay, that's enough. And it takes you in a new direction, and you realize that you've been guided this entire time. So you don't need to worry about parental wounds. You don't need to worry about you never had friends. You don't need to, everything has been guided for you to get right here where you're needed to be. You've been adapted to the idea of not having friends because you had periods of isolation that were necessary. You've been adapted to the idea of not having support because you were going to be persecuted. You've come to be adapted to the idea of hard work and doing things on your own and not depending on anyone because you had to get here. And it would have been easier for you to go through the very difficult things that other people found to go through because you had to get here. So you almost learned how to be captive, learned skills of how to survive captivity, because you were going to have a period of captivity. You were going to be led into captivity. Once you heal your heart to a certain degree, that it is possible for you to feel compassion for others, that's when spirit can inhabit you. That's when spirit can find a safe space in your heart. Because getting through this is not possible without spirit, without your spirit guides. It's simply not possible. It's hard to do these things alone. So when spirit does not force your will, and spirit does not possess you. What I mean by possess, when we think about demonic possession, where things are forcing your hand and pushing you and tugging you, and spirit doesn't work that way. Spirit wants to know that you have a heart that can feel compassion towards others, so that when spirit shows you the suffering of others, you say to yourself, this is not right. This person should not be suffering like this. They shouldn't. So you can do the right thing. Just so you can do the right thing. Because spirit is not going to bully you. If you can feel compassion for others, if you can feel that something is wrong, then you're going to know that you shouldn't be, you shouldn't allow things like this to happen. Things like this shouldn't happen to you. So you go through it and you walk your path and you figure it out slowly but surely, with spirit with you. Everything that has happened, that I have done, has happened of my own free will. Spirit has never forced me. Spirit hasn't even asked. Spirit hasn't even said, do you think that it's a good idea? Never once. And that is the god awful truth. It's always been me who said this is awful. Spirit has just shown me the suffering of others. And through my own free will, through my own heart, I've said, this is going to cost me something. I'm going to pay for this, but I cannot help but do the right thing. I can't help it. And this has been my entire life. It's like I meet someone who needs help, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is gonna cost me. And I'm like standing there rolling my eyes, because I know they might not have any appreciation for what I'm done. They might not say thank you. They might turn around and be the same person that slices me, and here I am again doing the right thing, because it's the right thing. That's why your heart needs to be open. This is where spirit lives, because spirit's not gonna force you. And spirits can only inhabit people who are of like vibration. When you are in a positive vibration, it is impossible for demonic entities to inhabit you. It is a disgusting place for them. There is nothing for them to work with here. Every time you want to help people, every time you're pulling away from them, every time you're seeing something kind in someone, it's like, what do they have to work with? They can't get enough control to force your hand. They cannot get in enough control to do what it is that they're supposed to do. They can't get you to go to seedy places because they plant the idea and it's not attractive. It's kind of like say they put a visual in front of you and it repulses you. It's the vibration is too different. It's just like when God cannot inhabit people who have so much darkness. Where can spirit even fit? Where can spirit cannot even enter? Let me tell you, people hate people who have demonic entities on them, despise God so much that if there is even prayer and worship in the space, they don't want to be in the space that has robust prayer and worship. And I used to find that odd. It's almost like they'll come through sage, but they don't like prayer. How can you hate God so much that if there's prayer, it disgusts your spirit? It's the entity that cannot stand it. It's the entity. Like, people love God. Like, what is that? That's disgusting. That's how much the vibrations are opposite. So like attracts like. It's like if you're a godly person and you go somewhere and people are doing satanic things, of course you can't stay there. You can try to force yourself to stay there, but it's like seeing what's happening, it's gonna traumatize you just by seeing it. It's like the visual is gonna be stamped in your head. Like you can't, you're fighting even if God sent you there to fight yourself to stay there, it would be too tough for you. Because what you're seeing, you can't even begin to understand what they're talking about. And when I was younger, I used to not be able to understand like why people don't like kind people. And I realized when you're not kind yourself, you don't understand what the heck people are talking about. I didn't understand how people looked at me when they would roll their eyes. It's like they used to think, they probably still do to some degree, I don't know, but people thought I was a loser, literally. Like they would roll their eyes. Like they might have come recruit me, but 5 minutes into it, it's like they were repulsed. Like they didn't want to be around me. Like they were rolling their eyes, like they were moving around, like they just didn't want to be there. And now I realize the vibrations were too different. We were not a vibrational match. So whatever it is that they would want to be into, I wouldn't want to be into it. Wherever they would want to go, I wouldn't want to go. Whatever things they would want to do, I wouldn't want to do it. So they cannot even begin to have a stronghold because we don't align. We don't dress the same. We don't look the same. We don't act the same. It's like, it's a hard fight. Even for the worst of them that want to influence you and change you, it's too much of an uphill battle. They have to change the way that you look, the way that you dress, the things that you do, the places that you go, and it's an uphill battle because it doesn't align. You are who you are on the inside. That is why you can gang stalk a TI, you can do all these horrible things to them, and they are still kind people. You cannot beat this out of them. It's just who they are. You meet TIs who've been to TI for 14 years, 17 years. These people are still kind people. You cannot beat the God out of them. You just have to continue torturing them. Nothing's going to change them. They still want to help people. They still want to do good. There's nothing you can do. That is the point. Your shadow work is definitely going to be to address traumas, and these traumas are going to be difficult things. So some of these traumas are going to be rape. Some of these traumas are going to be abandonment. Some of these traumas are going to be human trafficking. It's going to be horrendous things. I've heard people talk about their story, and it's even hard to listen to. It is horrendous. It is horrendous. And you got to heal that, and you got to find God. Because otherwise, it's going to make you feel so hateful. Once God finds a way in, God can find a way to be encouraging to you as a mother. If you are a mother, not everybody here is a mother. Maybe some people are fathers. Some people maybe have the experience with parents like this. They can only encourage you and keep you strong. They can only encourage you and give you hope. They can only encourage you and give you faith, but they can't. They're not going to force you. They can't bully you. Your parents are not going to force you to do things that you don't want to do. If you turn around and you tell your parent, like, I'm not going to do it, all they can say is, please, like, listen to me. I'm trying to do the best for you. But they cannot force you. Spirit will never force you to do anything. Spirit will only encourage you. You should do this. You should do that. You should do this. You should do that. And you need to also be respectful and obedient, because this is for your best and your highest good. Spirit is never telling you anything to punish you. I promise you. It might feel grueling, but it's always in your best interest. And whoever your guides are, you're going to find that your spirit guides are always like you in some way. You guys share attributes. It's not going to be difficult. So if spirit, it's like you are spirit in a sense. So if you know yourself, you know what you like. Like if you know yourself right now, you know what restaurant to recommend for yourself. You know what you want to order. If you're a person, like, you know what type of person you're attracted to, what type of person you would never be attracted to, what kind of things you would go for, what kind of house you want. It's like you can release to spirit, because spirit knows you. Spirit knows what you want. A lot of the things that you get, you didn't even actively ask for. Spirit just knew that this is what you wanted. You thought about it in the past. I like red cars, and you don't even ask for it. And one day you're looking at someone really strange. You're buying the car with money that you don't know how you got, and you're looking at the salesperson. You're like, you know what's really awkward? I always wanted a red car. I didn't even think I was gonna get a red car. As soon as you get there, you sit in the chair and they're like, we have that model, but it's red. You're like, it's red? That's the only one we have left, and it's this price, which is exactly how much you have. That's how spirit works. When you look back retroactively, spirit has always been there. Spirit does not need to possess you, force you, or bully you in order to get you where you have to go. You've always been guided. But when you're in gang stalking, when you're being persecuted, they need to be on the inside, because people are trying to get you possessed. People are trying to send attacks to you. They want to check what's going on inside. How's your bladder? How are your kidneys? How's your blood pressure? And then they change these things for you. Okay, you need to eat better. You need to drink more water. You need to work out. You need to do these things, because spirit can see what you want. It's almost like spirit is the sensors on the inside, your check engine lights, trying to figure out what's going on with you. And I'm just going to repeat this point again. When you're in this situation and you're shown suffering, your conscience and your heart will guide you. That's the purpose of them. It will guide you in the correct way on what you need to do. And you're going to know you cannot leave people in those kind of conditions. You cannot walk away from this, because that's the point of opening up your heart to spirit. Is your heart is open enough that you can understand the suffering of others, and that's not something that you want people to feel. You're gonna learn here about spiritual law, and no one is above the law, and you got to keep your ego in check, because as special as you are to spirit, everybody is special to spirit as well. Spirit shows that love to everybody. So that beautiful love that you're given, you have to remember that we are all children of God, and you cannot expect God to favor you above other people or at the expense of other people. So that you also need to think about others as well on this journey. You also, and I don't just mean like other people suffering, but you also need to humble yourself. You need to not think that you can break spiritual law against other people. You got to leave things to spirit, a lot of things. These are lessons all of us learn. All of us are going to one by one learn these lessons. We're going to go through things and we're going to make mistakes, and spirit's going to correct us, and that's how it works. Spirit corrects you when you're wrong. You're going to learn, well, I just read the laws of Mayat, the core tenets, but you're going to learn that it's not going to be, maybe it's not like that on the other side. Maybe the other side, these people don't take like formal oaths as well. But it's almost like when you come into service of spirit, and service looks multiple different ways, but when you come into service for spirit, you're going to realize that there are certain things that come with this, and you're going to realize it without spirit forcing it on you. So this is different from the laws of Mayat. So it'll be things like, we operate out of a sense of love and loyalty over here. Love and loyalty. What I mean by that is, everything you do out of the goodness of your heart. We don't give to receive. So you're going to be in this situation and you're going to see things happen to others, and your conscience is going to say to you, this is not right, and you're going to attempt to do the right thing. Not attempt to, but you are going to do the right thing. And as you go about doing the right thing, you're going to consistently develop a pattern of behavior where you understand that this is the service that you give to God, because it is going to cost you to do the right thing. You're going to take a beat down for it. God needs you to not agree to something, and they're beating down on you to force you to agree to it, then that's what you're going to go through. God needs you to, stay consistent with something, and it's grueling. So for example, meditation is attacked in every way, shape, or form that you could think, because they think that's how God talks to you, and if they could block the meditation, it would block the information of God, and that is not how that works. Like, that's not how it works. But it's like, you're gonna have to sit with it. You're gonna have to go through a beating to be of service. This is just how it works. So this is when anytime you hear of service, it sounds like the military. It sounds like something where you give of yourself, you sacrifice of yourself, of your comfort. And being a TI, you're losing everything. They want you to lose everything to come into their community, into their family. And so once you lose everything, you could come into our family. And it's a family. It is a family. It operates out as a family. Everybody here is a sister or a brother to another. It operates as a family, because the same way you're of service when you need help, no one is going to negotiate their personal safety to come and get you out of a situation that you're stuck in. That is how family works. It literally operates as a family. So it looks like a mother, a father, and children as a family. Even with me giving messages, some messages are from father, some messages are from mother. They are two different, but it is a family. Your guides might be, your spirit guide might be father, your spirit guide might be mother, but either way you're guided. Either way you're guided. So we operate as a family, we move as a family unit, and your unwavering loyalty is required. You need to get to a point where you are unbribable, because believe me, they will bribe you. They are out there thinking of ways to get you in. How much can we pay you? What can we give you? How much land do we need to give you? Do we need to buy you a house? What can we do to get you? And the longer you resist and the longer they can't have you is the more desperate they get, the more they're willing to offer for your enslavement. You need to be unbribable. Your loyalty needs to be unshakable, unbreakable. Nothing breaks you. Nothing takes you or off the course that you are supposed to be on, because you're not doing this. If someone can pay you, someone else can pay you more. It's not about money. God does not bring you in with money. God does not bring you in with any, God will even try to encourage you and tell you, it's okay, you will be blessed because of this. But you know what? I can only speak for myself. Every single time I've been like, listen, I'm not doing this for money. I would do this for free. I would do this for free. You'll forget that there's any sort of blessing at the end of it because it's what's right. It is just what's right. And you will see things and you'll go in spirit and you'll say, yeah, no, 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 this is intolerable. This cannot happen. This is not okay. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to feel that way because that's why you have that kind of heart. You have the kind of heart that wants to fight for other people. You're going to be experiencing evil consistently and you're going to have to constantly heal. And these people are going to constantly put traumas on you, and you need to experience them without absorbing them. You need to experience horrific things without absorbing it, almost without taking it personally. Absorbing without, or sorry, experiencing without getting personally involved, just observing, being the observer. Buddhism talks about this as well. Just observing without getting involved, and it takes a practice to do that. I'll tell you that. Whenever you find yourself in a position being bribed and you take the bribe, this is instantly breaking your contract with God, and they know that. When you take any bribe, when you take any agreement that is against God's will, it instantly breaks your contract with God. When you take any contract against any family, spiritual family, it breaks your spiritual contract. So the first day that you go against them spiritually, it breaks the contract. That is the beginning of breaking yourself out, working against them, or simply not deciding not to work with them anymore, even just not doing anything at all. And they know that it's a spiritual law. This is how it works. So you take a bribe against God, just one bribe, and it's a quick release. It instantly releases you, but you lose the loyalty of everyone here. You lose your spiritual protection, you lose your alliance, you lose everything all at once. So this is how it works. Now, you can have spiritual gifts obviously outside of God. It's not to say that you're going to lose your spiritual gifts, but you lose your connection to God with the gifts. There's one time I was watching another video where I said something that sounded contradictory to that, and I just didn't expand on it. It's not to say that you're not having gifts outside of God, but when you come here with the gift, you have a gift and a connection. When the connection breaks, you may still have the gift. It doesn't work the same without the connection. No matter what they say, oh, we want you for your gift. A gift with a connection is a totally different beast. And people only know that by experiencing it. You forfeit whatever agreements you've made with this spiritual family by not working with them anymore, by deciding that you're not in alliance with what they're in alliance with, and that is energetically. That's how you break an oath. So, I've talked about all of that. Your initiation is going to constantly be a challenging situation. You're going to be put in challenging situations that you cannot do anything about. You're just in a challenging situation. And like I said, it's going to feel like it's not real. That it's very real. It's going to feel it technically it's both. Everything spiritual is like both. It's very real, but at the same time, it's like you're meant to get through it, so don't take it too seriously. You have to be detached from it enough to know that it's going to be fine, you're going to get through it, but still take it very seriously because you're meant to be here to learn. And if you don't, you're going to be stuck. They're sending you spell work and you're going to be fine, but if you don't cleanse it, if you don't take care of it, you're going to fall sick. You're going to succumb to it because you're in a body. You got to take care of your body. This is the home not just of your soul, of your spirit guides and your spirit family and your ancestors as well. And you're going to look back and see that God planted you there all along. Literally, like the Bible verse just said, God planted you there all along. Your guides have always been with you. They have always been waking you up and you got to be willing to accept your destiny. And it's going to be a destiny that perhaps you or they thought they stole. They thought they had you captive and they got you and you can't get out and whatnot. And it's not going to be like that. One day you're going to wake up. There's going to be a glimmer of hope. Somebody's there to help you through. Somebody's there to see you through your issues. and you're going to realize you're still going to step into the destiny that people thought they took away from you. It could be 20 years ago, 15 years ago. God puts the right people in the right place to give you the right advice, to ease your pain, to help you to walk through, and to help you to accept your path, to show you that it is okay. For me, I didn't like the word witch initially. I did not like that word. I was like, what is that? That sounds evil. And then you meet people that you're like, this is an amazing person. I like this person. They identify as a witch. Okay, maybe it's not all bad. And you're still hesitant. You're like waiting for them to do something evil or whatever, but everything they do is good. Everything they do is they have a very matronly, not matronly, but motherly, nurturing energy, a fathering energy. But they're teaching you how to help yourself. And this is what these people do, is they come with that energy of trying to be nurturing and being nice and pampering and giving advice, but then using it to destroy you, giving you false guidance that is literally opposite, guidance that blocks God. And they have to pay for your karma for what the mistakes that you make. They have to pay for that karma. You're going to see that when God comes to help you and take you out, that you're going to see the loyalty. You're going to know, you're going to meet your soul family. You're going to all of a sudden see loyalty that puts itself at great sacrifice to help you. You're going to realize that people here are putting their life in danger to help you. People here are going out of their way, putting themselves in situations that they're not quitting. They're losing to help you. They're choosing to stay in difficult situations to help you. And that's when you start understanding what God means, what God wants from you. After going through this and meeting people that love you in a way that you do not need to question, you're gonna finally get to, and I mean at any cost. You know what I mean by any cost? I mean the way that they're fighting for you, the way that God's fighting for you. You know that even if they had your corpse, that God would still keep fighting this to come back and get your corpse, and bring it back. Even your corpse is important. And the next lifetime we come back and God's like, we're getting it back. We're doing it again. I know in my situation, this issue didn't start this lifetime. I just feel it in my soul. This did not start this lifetime. I forgot about it. God was like, oh, by the way, we got something to go get back. We're taking it back. This is yours. I'm going to keep you in here until you get it back. I'm not going to let you self-sabotage. I'm not going to let you give it up. They don't care if they fight for you many lifetimes until they get it back. This is why you don't want to make spiritual enemies. And I keep saying this. They don't care how many lifetimes it takes to get it back, because they understand your heart is pure. They understand that you have this heart that is not yet balanced. So it's gonna be easier for you to fall into traps. You have to ask for help to be cruel. You have to ask for help to be determined. But they're gonna bring you here. They're going to bring you here, and they're going to open your Akashic records. They're going to open your past to you so you can build on the old lessons that you had before, so you can get yourself to be who you were supposed to be in order to get this thing done. But you're going to get it done. One way or the other, you're going to get it done at any cost. And I always say it costs what it costs. It takes as long as it takes. We're not worried about time. We're worried about getting out. The only reason people don't beat this program is they don't give it patience in fighting. Not in enduring, not in complaining, not in being stuck in a cycle, in fighting, closing doors, blocking access, blocking the way these people access you, blocking the way these people can hurt you, blocking. That's what you need to stay with. And when you're working with God, God keeps you in that place where God says, we're going to stay in this fight until we get you out, we get the justice, and we get back what was taken from you. We're going to fix all of it. We're going to clear all of it. And it starts spiritually. It starts in the spirit. If God parts the Red Sea for you, you are the one that has to walk through. Look at what has to happen before God puts the miracles in your life and parts the Red Sea. You need to make a decision that you're going to leave Egypt. You need to make a decision that you're going to leave with your children and whatever you can hold in your hands, if anything at all. You're going to have to trust that when you get on the other side, you'll be taken care of, because you're going into a desert. You're going to be chased by an army, and when you get to the sea where they think they're going to block you, God is going to part it. And God is going to put enough distance between you and them that as you walk into the sea, it closes behind you. It closes behind you so that they can't follow you in. And you know, there was a message that God said, because of the way the Egyptians started to fear, because of the way that God was parting the Red Sea for the Israelites, they began to fear because they said, our gods haven't done things like this. So they became nervous, and that's what happens in your case. People start getting very fearful of you. They'll say they're fearful of you, but really it's what's supporting you, it's what's behind you that they're afraid of. Because they're seeing God part the Red Sea. And as the Red Sea is being parted, you're gonna have to walk through it. You can't just stand there and be afraid. You gotta take the risk. You gotta walk through it because you're being saved. Spirit has come to save you. So 10 things you're gonna have to be. I said 10, but I have 9 here. Maybe I'll think of something else. I don't know why I said 10. Who are you going to have to be in order to live this life? First of all, God first, God always. That's number 1. We put God first and God always. Anything that is good for you and important to you, family, spouse, house, land, money, whatever you can think of, if it is good for you, God will protect it. God will even push you to things that you don't want. I don't know if I want this. Well, you should. It's going to make you happy. Why don't you want it? If you put God first, everything else falls in line. God is not secondary to anything, any desire, any job, any whatever. God is first, always. And I cannot stress that enough. God first, God always. Number 2, you have to be one who doesn't feel fear, because you're going to need to be fearless where you're going. Imagine you calling the police to come help you out of a situation and they start negotiating, is this safe for them to do? Imagine how terrifying that would be for you. Oh, I don't know, we could come, but that's not safe. You know, these are bad guys, these are criminals. That's not what they're called for. They're called to service. So they put themselves in dangerous situations. Imagine soldiers that didn't want to fight, that didn't want to go to war, that were scared. Excuse me, you have to put yourself in difficult situations in order to help other people. You have to be a person who trusts without doubt, and you're just trusting that what you're doing is the right thing that you're supposed to do. There's a lot of the things that you're called to do, there's no time for doubt. So when you go in the Spirit and you pray and you ask for help, help comes immediately. There's no time for doubt. The situation is worked on immediately. So when God asks you to do something and it's difficult, as much as it is difficult to do, you start working on, well, how can I get this done? How can I figure this out? Not doubting and not putting yourself in a position of fear. Oh, will it work? Will it not work? You just move with Spirit and you trust. Keep your word. Your word is law, and your word becomes law. And Spirit has to depend on your word. So you have to show and prove every single time that you're going to keep your word. There are so many times I say to God, I'm like, oh my goodness, if you just do this for me, I'll do that. And when it comes time to do that, I got to do that. Because half the time what you're promising in the time that you need it, but you're not thinking about when you got to do it. When you got to do it, you got to show that strength and you got to do it. It's not to say that some of the things that you promise are not going to be hard to do. Like, you promise yourself in service, and that's not easy to do. That's going to be terrifying to do. But you do it because you are supposed to do it. You keep your word. I cannot plead with you enough. With God, you keep your word. There was something that I was supposed to... I just remembered the 10th one. It just ran from me. Anyways, number 5, patience with your situation. You got to be patient with it. This is not your fight. This is not your battle. We don't know how long this is going to take. We don't know how this is gonna go. Don't meddle. Don't get impatient. Don't, every mistake I made was out of impatience, and I regret every single one. These are tender situations that take a balanced approach, and that's why Spirit is so careful. Each part must be balanced. Take your time, let God, leave it to God and let God handle it. And it will always take longer than you hope. You hope that this is going to be a 3 month affair. It might be a 3 year affair. Get comfortable. Number 6, obedience. Trust and obey, because there is no other way. If there were an easier way, that's the way you would have been given. Whatever way you've been given is the way you got to take. Trust and obey. Trust it. This is how it must be done. You must be obedient in everything. God says walk on water, walk on water. You're going to be scared for your first step. You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to sink through. And it takes the first couple steps. You know, I always imagine it like maybe you sink a little bit, but you're a little buoyant. You don't go all the way down. And then there's going to be a day you're going to just run across the water. You're going to get so used to it. God knows you're a baby, and God knows what you need, and God knows the way to start. So be obedient. Number 7, you need to become one who can endure. Like, your persistence needs to worry other people. I can tell you, some of us, the way we are persistent makes people nervous, because they know no matter what happens when they wake up tomorrow, it's going to be you back to the same thing again. There's not going to be a day that they can hope that you're going to stop, no matter what they throw at you. And believe me, they're going to get to the point that they're not pointing the tank at you. They're lifting the tank and trying to beat you down with it. So you have to be persistent. You have to be one who can endure anything. God doesn't say that bad things are going to happen. God says that you need strength to pass every test. When I was asking God, please stop things from happening, God's like, you need strength to pass anything that's coming, because things are going to come. Number 8, you need to be a person who doesn't hesitate. When it's go time, it's go time. No pause, no delay, no questions, no but, no if, ands. When God says time to do something, you get up and you do it, period. That's how it works, because that's how it works for you, because you're going to need some things, and God's going to need to go to other people and say, your sister needs you now, and they're just going to pick up and get it done. There are people who gave messages to me that I knew was putting them in jeopardy, and they did it anyways, and they're paying the cost for it now. They're paying the cost for what they've done. So please understand, when your turn comes and you are asked to give guidance, and it comes at a cost to you, that you do not hesitate to give that sacrifice. You do not hesitate to do your part. When it's go time, it's go time. Number 9, you need to be a hurdle jumper. You need to assess what your barriers are and remove it. That is the point of having men on the ground, boots on the ground. It's because from our standpoint, where we are at, we can't do it ourselves. So we know we got a person in there, a person in there, and a person in there that can handle it. And that's why all the things that come before you being a hurdle jumper allow you to do your job, allow you to be of service. We got somebody on the inside. And you will be fine, you will be taken care of, as long as you trust and obey. So you're the one that navigates issues. You got to sit with some issues that are tough. They're not making it easy. You got to constantly find solutions, constantly heal yourself. It literally is like being a spy. It literally feels like that. You got to nobody can come and tell you what the solution is for every issue that you're having. But you just know that you have to heal some of these issues. You have to get through them. I remember I saw this message, and it was like, at the time I perceived it as perhaps the person just didn't have a right answer, and they made it up because of the way they delivered it. And they said that you're going through these challenges because the universe likes seeing you go through challenges. And I was like, what? What? This is stressing me out. This is wearing me thin. But I can tell you, after a while of going through challenges, you become proud of yourself, of how many challenges you've gone through. You've gone through things over and over and over, and you constantly come out. And it's to the point that your enemies are going to get used to the fact that you're going to come out of whatever challenge they're going to put you in. They're going to all know that it's just a matter of time before you figure a way out of it. Because you're going to be slippery. You've always been slippery, and you're going to continue to be slippery. And it's intended that way. It's a thing of pride to watch. It is. To know that you have people on the case, that you have fair amount, like you're going to sleep at night and they've just given you a status report that this person is stuck, and you're like, they will be fine. And you sleep well because you know now that you don't have to worry about this person. This person has shown and proven. And maybe that will be number 10. Maybe that's what I wanted to say. You have to show and prove. Spirit does not just this is not for everybody. It's how they say, many are called but few are chosen. This is not for everybody. People think that they can do this, and it shows. It will show in your persistence, your determination, and how long you stay. The only real thing that you have to do is be obedient and stay in your fight. That's all you really have to do. That's all you really have to do. If you accept your life of service, which I'm just going to tell you right now, you kind of don't have a choice, because your situation is going to persist. You either want out of this situation or not, and this is the only way out. If you want a life of service, you got to talk to God yourself. You don't need to go through anybody else. There's no liaison. You go to God yourself. God's already anticipating you. God is already with you. God only put the message in front of you because God's right there, and God needs you to hear it in great detail in English or whatever language you speak. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't. If you don't want it, your situation is unbearable. They make it unbearable on purpose. So if you want this life of service, you talk to God. You say, I need help. I want out. Please show me the way. And this is what I have as a sacrifice for you. I will be a living sacrifice for you. I will be an example of your love and your faith. I will be what you need me to be moving forward, because I understand that there are other people suffering. I understand that there's more work to be done. Not all service is active service or fighting. Sometimes you can just be an example to other people. Sometimes it's the way you live, the way you love, the way you endure. One of the most famous people in the Bible is Job, and Job wasn't fighting necessarily. Job was just enduring for God. Job would just not turn his back on God. And God made him a massive example. God made him famous. That was his legacy. Job maybe lived, we don't know how many years ago, and look at his story is still being told. Sometimes you're just an example for God, and you are just a miracle. You are proof that God is real. I know I am proof that God is real. I am proof. I am the proof that God is real. I'm telling you. And sometimes that if that's your only service, then that's your only service. You're proof that God is real. Your life may not even change much outside of changing your belief system, but on the inside, extensive renovations. Your heart is different. You think differently. Your endurance is different. You're fearless. You're determined. It takes some time for you to see all of that. There are people here in our situation who have lived a life of crime long enough, and it's just time to hear God's voice. And it's not even the first time that they're hearing God's voice. God's been saying to them, you shouldn't be living like this. You shouldn't be doing this. But it took finally for something to happen, to see some miracle, to see a glimmer of hope for them to finally say, I'm ready. I'm ready to put my foot forward. I'm ready to take a leap of faith, because God is real, and God is definitely stronger than whatever is binding me and holding me up. And that's the point. Many are called, only few are chosen, because this initiation is by fire. And when you are ready to bathe in fire voluntarily, when you're ready to hop in fire, when you're ready to fly into fire, then God knows that you're ready for this life of service. Because every single time the phone rings at the police station, it's not because a pizza is going to be delivered. It's because there is a problem somewhere that needs addressing. When God's line rings, it's people who are wailing, who are crying, who are weeping, who need help, who can't help themselves. So who does God send? The angels, the earth angels, to deal with this situation. So if you find yourself relating, or any of what I've said today resonating with you, chances are you're probably an earth angel. Chances are you're probably here in service. And as always, we give God, in our fight, our difficult fights that are taking a while, because these are not short fights and they're not easy, we give God another day, another lifetime, and an eternity always in service to the crown. Thank you for hanging in with me. Let me do a spirit message. Ooh. I always read the bottom one. It says, go back to the heart of who you truly are. There you will find peace. Look at your life in its entirety. Acknowledge any old wounds and then release them. Use what they taught you as added strength. Keep moving forward with a renewed sense of confidence. Keep moving forward, even if you are unsure of your next step or where it may take you. Trust that you are walking the path you are meant to walk. Remember, we are walking it with you. Trust yourself more. You're doing your best, and that is enough. Any difficulties you face will not last forever. Release the thoughts and feelings that don't feel good. Focus all your energy on love, happiness, and your hopes and dreams. And the last one I'm going to take, learn to ride the waves of life. When faced with difficult times, you can either fight against the current or go with it. So ask yourself, what is to be gained by depleting your energy and fighting against it? Don't do that to yourself. And part of how I don't do that to myself is because I've come to terms with the fact that every breakthrough I ever had always happened through an attack. Every time I had a breakthrough, it's always because somebody did something to push me in some way that forced me to make a change. And they have no choice but to attack you, because if they don't attack you, you start flourishing. And that is what they're here to block. So as soon as they start blocking it, you have to figure out a way out of it. We are all stuck in here in this cycle together. Nobody gets out without transforming or going through karma or whatever it is that has to happen. Nobody gets out of this. So just trust your journey, walk your path, and be very assured that if you're walking a path with God, you're definitely getting through it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Spirit doesn't even need this whole melodrama. This is meant for us to have a life experience. This is meant for people to experience karma, people to experience themselves. I realize how karma is. Karma is not necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for? Karma is not necessarily just people suffering. Karma is people experiencing themselves. So that's what we're going through here. That's what people in general are going through here. So I always do a crystal of the day, and I'm going to do a crystal today. And the crystal for today is black obsidian, the crystal of soul cleansing. I have recommended this everywhere I've gone to everybody that I know. This is what it looks like. This is what black obsidian looks like, okay? Black obsidian, before I go into reading this, I use black obsidian for protection. It literally blocks what TIs call energy work, what I call spell work. It blocks it immediately. You place the obsidian anywhere that you're being attacked. You just lay it on it. Within a few seconds, under a minute, it disperses the attack. I believe what happens is the attack goes back because it gets blocked. That's what I believe. So if you're a TI, you're supposed to have black obsidian. Little story about my black obsidian. When I went to buy it, it was recommended to me so many times I didn't buy it. When I went to buy it, I found it at a ridiculous price. I mean, it was so cheap for the size of it. And I didn't purchase it the first time. I was hesitating. Do you know what happened? God sent me back to the same store. I found myself there. It was so out of my way. Found myself there, and I purchased it because, you know, even my kid says, well, if it's still here, the kid said it and the people at the store, they said, well, if it's still here, it was meant to be. So I purchased it. And the next time I went there, they were closed. They had shut down. So black obsidian is necessary. Another one I'm going to say is selenite. You lay selenite directly on your skin, it heals. It's almost like the selenite sucks whatever it is out of you. And when that selenite sucks it out of you, the selenite itself just begins to disintegrate. So when you, because selenite is a salt crystal, it's a salt-based crystal, so it's cleansing. So as you use selenite, whatever your crystal started at, your crystal disintegrates completely. Like it really starts falling apart as you use it for healing. So let me read about black obsidian. It says here that it just says true self. So I guess it gets to your true self. I don't know. It's a deep healer, and black obsidian offers insight into causes of dis-ease. It removes blockages and debris from past lives and reverses previous misuse of power, addressing power issues on all levels. The stone blocks psychic attack and removes negative spiritual influences. It anchors the spirit into the body. If you are having issues with demonic possession, if you're having issues with entities that are being sent to you but that are being sent to possess your vessel, black obsidian, selenite, crystals, lay crystals on your skin, and I mean daily, all the time. If it's dark energy that you have an issue with, then you're going to lay it on your left side. And you're just going to just sleep with them, just have them around you, have them touching your skin. They will do what they need to do. 1000% blocks psychic attacks. I don't care what you tell me. I'm living proof. Okay? Black obsidian. And it needs to be cleansed often when you're under heavy spiritual attack. Black obsidian brings deep-seated emotions and issues to the surface, assessing your shadow and integrating positive qualities hidden there. So your shadow side is your left side, and your shadow is not all bad. People want to think like demonic energies or the underworld or whatever is all bad. Not necessarily. It's like, I consider the underworld like jail. There are people in jail. I'm not saying the underworld has innocent people, but you gotta even go, everybody goes through good, bad, indifferent. Everybody goes through the underworld. That's the only way to ascend. So your shadow side, literally, you need it. You need that side of you. You cannot be just left. Or sorry, just right. You need the left path as well. You need every single path of you. You need all of it, because there are traits in there that you can use for good. For example, one thing about me, there's a lot of things about me, but one thing about me, you don't just have a problem with me one time. If I decide that you have a problem with me, that problem is going to be rectified at any cost, at any duration. It's no forgiving, no explaining. Once it passes a certain threshold, we're here for good. And that's a shadowy aspect. Now, that's why I don't like people bothering me, and I try to warn people. I tell people, please, like, let's not do this. I can do all of that in the upfront because I know once I lock in, I lock in. And because of that, I have to use that side of me for good. But I can't deny it because it's part of me. It is how I am. It's like a switch. It gets locked in, it gets locked in. It's focused. So you have to explore your shadow side, get to know it, figure it out, and then use it in a positive way. It works extremely fast in a few seconds, in under like 30 seconds, but you may need other crystals to deal with those issues that rise to the surface. I have never used black obsidian alone, so you might have core crystals that you use, and then over time you will build up your arsenal of crystals, and you'll just have different things for different purposes as you need. On the body, it deals with digestion, detoxification, arteries, joints, circulatory system, and prostate. On the body, to me, black obsidian deals with everything. Personally, that's how I feel. And in the mind, it clarifies the mind and clears confusion. I love these crystals. All black crystals have something to do with protection. So you can protect both sides, not just one. You can put protection crystals on both sides. However, there are some crystals that are meant to be on your right hand and some are meant to be on the left. Your body will tell you what you need. But don't listen to people who say you can put crystals on any side. It's again misinformation. It needs to make sense. There are some things that you deal with that are left hand issues and some things that are right hand issues. So do pay attention to the hand that you have it on. There are people who have their right hand naked and they have everything on their left, or vice versa. They have their left hand naked and everything on the right. So these dark energies, whatever it is, are just entering without obstruction, without irritation, and everything protection wise is on the right. So as that energy is on the left side, dominating and running wild, all the protection and everything is on the right side of them. And that's where the issues are lying with God trying to help and protect. So please pay attention to what you're doing when it comes to spirituality. You want to educate yourself as much as possible. The way people get away with things is making you scared of getting education. How can getting education about a thing be a bad thing? Get your education and then apply the knowledge, and then you'll learn how to move forward. Hoping that what I've said has resonated in some way, but chances are, if you're being gang stalked and they haven't been able to make you pass away or get you terminally ill, and that they are exacting unimaginable abuse on you and you don't look like it, or you should probably be living in the hospital by now, chances are you probably have a higher purpose and you need to embrace your spirituality, and you have to try not to let anybody take that away from you. You have to be okay with getting knowledge and applying it, and in all ways, not just spiritually and be spiritual minded only, but also practical things. I have to learn all kinds of things. I got to learn about healing, technology, spirituality, all of it, because you need all of it to get through. This is not just like a fight that is in like one dimension, if you will. This is multifaceted. They're fighting you everywhere. So that is my message for today. Check out the page, check out the playlist. I try to organize the videos in playlists for things that you might need. And if you are fresh to the page, if you're new to the page, definitely check out the pages on healing and cleansing, because you're not going to have a good life experience if you're under consistent persecution and energy attacks like this. So thank you, have a great day, and remember that God loves you.